Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into some seriously cool AI?
Always up for that.
Okay, so today we're tackling OpenAI and how they're kind of revolutionizing the world of AI reasoning.
Yeah, reasoning, like really thinking like we do.
Exactly. We're talking logic, problem solving, the whole shebang. And our guide for this deep dive is a super interesting article from Unite.ai.
From O1 to O3, how OpenAI is redefining complex reasoning in AI.
That's the one. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of ChatGPT, right?
Oh yeah, ChatGPT is amazing at those back and forth conversations. Makes you feel like you're talking to a real person.
For sure. But what we're looking at today is even bigger. It's about OpenAI taking things way further, teaching these models to really think through complex problems.
So it's like they're giving AI a brain upgrade or something.
Totally. And get this, we'll even see how they're training these models to check their own work. It's like AI becoming self-aware, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Seriously. But okay, let's rewind a bit. OpenAI's journey to this crazy advanced reasoning all started with O1 back in September 2024. Oh yeah, O1 was a big deal. So what made O1 so different from what came before?
Well, unlike earlier models, O1 was built specifically for those brainy, logical tasks. It used this technique called reasoning chains to break down problems into smaller, easier-to-manage steps.
So instead of getting bogged down by a massive problem, it's like O1 creates a step-by-step plan to attack it.
Right, exactly. And the results, they're pretty astounding. O1 was able to solve like 83% of these really tough math problems.
83%? That's incredible!
Yeah. And just to compare, GPT-4, one of the earlier models, only managed to solve around 13%. Talk about a major leap in accuracy.
Whoa, that's like going from like barely scraping by in math class to absolutely acing it. But it wasn't just about those reasoning chains, was it?
Nope. OpenAI also did a major overhaul of their training methods. They put together specialized data sets, basically tons of math and science problems, and then they used what's called large-scale reinforcement learning.
Okay, break that down for me. What does that even mean?
Imagine putting O1 through like a super intense boot camp for math and science, and then letting it just practice and learn from its mistakes.
So basically, they trained O1 like an Olympic athlete, but for the world of problem solving.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so O1 was obviously a rock star. But then OpenAI released O3 during their 12 Days of OpenAI event, and things got even wilder.
Right. O3 takes that whole reasoning thing we were talking about to a completely different level. Now picture this. An AI that not only solves these complex problems, but can also like adapt how it solves them and then double check its answers based on certain, criteria.
Hold on, it's like O3 has its own quality control system built in.
You got it.
That's nuts. So even if it takes a bit longer to give you an answer, you know it's going to be the right one.
Exactly. It's all about accuracy and reliability. OpenAI calls this process private chain of thought.
Private chain of thought. Okay, I'm intrigued.
Basically what it means is that O3 is trained to actually think things through before it just throws an answer out there. It breaks the problem down, looks at it from different angles, explains its logic, and then boom, delivers the best response.
It's like, what is it, those detectives you see in movies?
Yeah.
They gather all their clues, put the pieces together, and then present their solution all nice and neat. But okay, what about when a problem is super difficult? Does O3 always take like the same amount of time to figure things out?
That's where O3 gets really clever. It can adjust how long it needs to think, depending on how hard the problem is. Easy problem, quick answer. But for those real head scratchers, O3 knows to take its sweet time and really dig deep. Wow.
Okay, so how did O3 do when put to the test? Did it crack the code of artificial general intelligence? They threw it into the ARC-AGI benchmark, which is like the Olympics for AI trying to handle brand new tasks.
Yeah. And O3 blew everyone away. It scored a whopping 87.5%, and it was especially strong in areas like coding and those advanced math problems we talked about earlier. But the folks running the ARC challenge were very clear that as amazing as O3 is, it hasn't quite reached that level of artificial general intelligence yet.
So it's not quite the all-knowing AI we see in movies, but it's definitely getting us closer. What about its limitations? What are some of the things O3 still struggles with, even with all that advanced reasoning power?
Well, O3 is amazing, but it still has trouble with things that seem super easy to us humans. It really shows that there's still a fundamental difference between how AI thinks and how we think.
So even though it can write code and solve crazy equations, it might have a tough time understanding a joke or figuring out like a tricky social situation.
You got it. It just goes to show that even AI as advanced as O3 has a ways to go before it can truly match the human brain's flexibility and adaptability.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So O3 is not perfect, but it's pushing the limits of what AI can do, that's for sure. But what does all this progress mean for the future of AI? What's next?
That's the big question, isn't it? And that's what we're going to get into right after the break. It's a wild ride, that's for sure.
Totally. Before the break, we were talking about how OpenAI is trying to solve these problems, especially with O3 needing so much computing power. But what I'm curious about is what got them thinking about this whole AI reasoning thing in the first place? Was there a specific aha moment that made them go down this path?
Well, it's been kind of a gradual evolution, but I think you could say that developing those large language models like GPT-3 and ChatGPT really kicked things into high gear.
Yeah.
Those models showed everyone just how amazing AI could be at understanding and generating human-like text. But they also, they highlighted their weaknesses when it came to tasks that required that deeper level of thinking, that reasoning.
So it was hey, we have this awesome tool, but it needs an upgrade if we really want it to live up to its full potential.
Exactly. OpenAI realized that just mimicking human conversation wasn't enough. They needed to go deeper, develop models that could think critically and tackle problems more like how we do it.
And that's where O1 and O3 came in, really pushing the boundaries of what AI could do. Makes you wonder, what's next? What crazy AI feats are we going to see in the next few years?
Oh, man. The possibilities are mind-blowing. Imagine AI working with scientists to solve those super complex medical mysteries or helping engineers design groundbreaking technologies.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But it's actually happening. But of course, we can't forget about the flip side.
You're right. With great power comes great responsibility, as they say.
Exactly. So we can't ignore those potential downsides.
Absolutely. As AI gets smarter, we really need to have those open, honest conversations about the ethical implications. And this isn't just for the scientists and engineers. It's for everyone. Policymakers, ethicists, everyday people like us.
I totally agree. It's about shaping a future where AI is used for good in a way that benefits all of humanity. Okay, let's go back to O3 for a sec. We talked about its strengths, its crazy potential, but what about those limitations? What are some things that O3 still can't quite grasp, even with all those advanced reasoning skills?
Well, like we touched on earlier, O3 can trip up on tasks that are super easy for us humans. It really suggests that there's still a fundamental difference between the way AI processes information and how our brains work.
So even though it can solve complex math problems and write code, it might struggle to, understand the subtleties of human language or the complexities of social interactions.
Precisely. AI still has a lot of ground to cover before it can truly match the flexibility and adaptability of the human mind.
Okay, that makes sense. You mentioned earlier that running O3 takes a ton of computing power. Can you give us an idea of just how much we're talking about? Could I run this thing on my laptop at home?
Not quite. Think massive data centers, packed with thousands of those specialized processors. We're talking a serious investment in terms of both the hardware and all the energy needed to keep it running.
Okay, so not exactly something you can just download and install, but are there any, advancements coming up that could change that? What about making this technology more, accessible and energy efficient?
Absolutely. There are some really exciting developments in hardware that could have a huge impact. One area that's really promising is neuromorphic computing. It's pretty cool, actually. It takes inspiration from the structure of the human brain.
So instead of those traditional computer chips, they're building chips that mimic the way neurons connect and communicate in our brains.
You got it. These neuromorphic chips are designed to be much more energy efficient than traditional chips, and they're especially good at running these AI models.
So maybe one day we'll have incredibly powerful AI, like O3, running on devices as small as our smartphones.
That's the ultimate goal, right? And with all the progress happening in hardware and software, it might not be as far off as we think.
It's pretty amazing to think about how far we've come in such a short time. We've gone from simple chatbots to AI that can solve these really complex problems and reason about the world in increasingly sophisticated ways. It's incredible how fast this field is moving.
And it's not just about the tech either. As we push the boundaries of what's possible with AI, We're learning more about our own intelligence in the process.
It's like this amazing journey of exploration and discovery, and it's full of both incredible promise and, some serious challenges.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's a time of immense excitement and anticipation watching this AI revolution unfold.
Well said. Okay, before we get too lost in the future, let's bring it back to the present for a moment. We've been talking a lot about OpenAI, but they're not the only ones doing incredible things in this world of AI reasoning, right? You mentioned Google earlier. What are some of the other big players in this field, and how does their approach compare to OpenAI's?
You're absolutely right. OpenAI is a leader, for sure, but there are definitely other companies making big contributions. Google, for example, they've developed their own powerful language model called PaLM. It's shown some really impressive reasoning capabilities. They're also focusing on AI systems that can understand the physical world. Things like robots that can navigate complex environments and manipulate objects.
So they're taking a more hands-on approach, connecting AI reasoning to real-world applications.
Exactly. And then there's DeepMind, which you've probably heard of. They're known for their AI that can beat humans at games, like AlphaGo and AlphaStar. Their research is pushing the limits of what AI can do when it comes to strategic thinking and planning.
It's really interesting to see how different companies are tackling this challenge from all these different angles.
It really is. And this diversity of approaches is one of the reasons why we're seeing such rapid progress. It's like a global race to figure out the secrets of intelligence, and everyone's bringing their own unique strengths to the table.
And as this race heats up, I think we can expect to see even more breakthroughs and innovations in the next few years. So, thinking about all these advancements, what are some areas where you think we'll see the most progress in AI reasoning in the near future? What are those next frontiers we should be watching?
Well, that's a great question. One area I'm really excited about is the development of AI that can reason about causality.
Causality. So you mean understanding cause and effect, like how one event leads to another.
Exactly. Right now, AI systems are great at recognizing patterns and correlations in data, but they really struggle to grasp those underlying cause and effect relationships.
So they might be able to predict that if it rains, people are more likely to carry umbrellas, but they don't actually understand that the rain is causing people to use umbrellas.
Exactly. If we can create AI that truly gets that why, that would be a massive breakthrough. Imagine AI that can not only predict what will happen, but also explain why and even, step in to change things.
Wow, that'd be a game changer, especially in fields like medicine, economics, climate science.
Absolutely. It would totally change the way we approach complex problems and make decisions. So yeah, keep an eye on causality, for sure.
I definitely will. What else is on your radar when it comes to the future of AI reasoning?
Another area I think we'll see big advancements in is the development of AI systems that can grasp the concept of common sense.
Common sense, like knowing that water is wet or that you shouldn't jump off a cliff?
Yeah, but it goes much deeper than that. Common sense is like this huge database of knowledge about the world. Social norms, the laws of physics, how people typically behave, all that stuff.
It's all those things that we humans just take for granted, but it's surprisingly hard to program into a machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if we can figure out how to give AI that common sense, it would dramatically improve their ability to understand and interact with the world in a way that's more human-like.
They'd be less likely to make those silly mistakes or misinterpret situations. Basically, they'd be more reliable, trustworthy, and ultimately more helpful. Okay, so causality and common sense, those are two big ones to watch. What about the hardware side of things? We were talking about all the computing power needed to run these advanced AI models. Are there any advancements coming up that could make this technology more accessible and energy efficient?
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of promising developments on the horizon. Neuromorphic computing, for example, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's based on the structure of the human brain.
Right. Instead of using those traditional computer chips, they're creating chips that are designed to mimic how neurons connect and communicate in our brains, right?
Exactly. These neuromorphic chips are designed to be way more energy efficient than those traditional chips, and they're perfect for running these really complex AI models.
So one day we might have incredibly powerful AI like O3 running on devices as small as our smartphones.
That's the dream, isn't it? And with the speed of innovation in both hardware and software, it might be closer than we think.
It's really amazing to think about how far we've come in such a short amount of time. From those basic chatbots to AI that can solve these super complicated problems and reason about the world in ways that are becoming increasingly sophisticated, the world of AI is evolving at an incredible pace.
And as we keep pushing those boundaries, as we explore what's possible with AI, we're not only unlocking these incredible new technologies, but we're also gaining a deeper understanding of our own intelligence along the way.
It's like this amazing journey, this journey full of incredible promise and some serious challenges.
I totally agree. It's a time of excitement and anticipation as we watch this whole AI revolution unfold before our eyes.
Well said. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop for now. We'll pick up right where we left off in part 3. And we're back. All right, so before the break, we were talking about all the amazing things happening in AI reasoning, all those companies making huge strides. But there's another side to this whole AI thing.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen what AI, like OpenAI's O3 can do, all that potential. But just like with any super powerful tech, we got to be smart about it. We got to consider the what could go wrong,
Right. Got to think about those downsides too. What are some of the things people are worried about with all this advanced AI stuff? What's the worst case scenario?
Well, I think one of the biggest concerns is jobs, right? As these AI systems get better at doing the things that humans do now, well, there's that worry that some jobs are just going to get automated.
Yeah, I can see that. It's already happening in some industries, even now. And it seems like it's only going to become more common as AI keeps getting, smarter.
Exactly. And it's not just about jobs that involve physical labor. AI is getting good at things that need thinking skills, analyzing data, writing, even decision making.
So those white collar jobs could be at risk too. That's a little unsettling, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. But I don't think it's all doom and gloom. A lot of experts think that sure, AI might automate some jobs, but it'll also create new ones. It's all about adapting, retraining people for those future jobs.
So it's more about working with AI, not against it. Learning how to use these new tools to make things better.
That's it. It's about using AI to make us more efficient, more productive, to sort of enhance our capabilities, not completely replace us.
Right. Okay, so job displacement is one big concern. What else is on people's minds when they think about all this rapidly evolving AI stuff?
Well, another thing people bring up a lot is the potential for AI to be used for, bad stuff. Things like those deepfakes, spreading misinformation, or even, the development of those autonomous weapons systems.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's some scary stuff, right out of a sci-fi movie.
It's true. AI can be used for good or bad, and that's exactly why we need to be really careful. We got to think about the risks as we develop these powerful technologies.
Okay, so how do we stop that from happening? How do we make sure AI doesn't, fall into the wrong hands or get used for things that could harm people?
It's a tough one. It's a complex issue. It's going to need a lot of different approaches. For one, international cooperation. We need to work together to develop ethical guidelines, regulations for how we develop AI.
So basically, global standards, rules of the road to make sure AI is being developed responsibly.
Exactly. We've also got to create a culture of responsible AI development within the tech industry itself. Companies need to think about ethics as much as they think about, the next big tech breakthrough.
So we need those safeguards built into AI, the ethical guidelines for developers, and a shared understanding that we've all got a responsibility to make sure AI is used for good.
You got it. It's going to take governments, industry leaders, researchers, and everyday people like us all working together. That's how we'll make sure AI is used to benefit all of humanity.
That's a big challenge, but it's important we figure it out, right? Okay, so we've talked about those potential downsides, those risks. Let's talk about the positive side for a minute. How could AI actually benefit society if we're careful about how we develop it? What's the best case scenario here?
The possibilities are pretty exciting when you think about it. Take healthcare, for instance. AI could help us diagnose diseases earlier, maybe even create those personalized treatments, even help with those really complex surgeries. And in education, it could provide personalized learning, adapt to how people learn best, make quality education accessible to everyone.
It sounds like AI could totally revolutionize healthcare and education.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. It could help us fight climate change, come up with new sources of clean energy, improve our transportation systems, maybe even create entirely new forms of art and entertainment.
It's like AI is opening the door to a whole new world.
It really is. The potential is huge. But it all depends on us, on whether we can make sure AI is developed and used ethically for everyone's benefit, not just for a select few.
That's a really powerful message. So as we wrap up our deep dive into OpenAI, this world of advanced AI reasoning, I have to say I'm feeling a little a mixture of excitement and caution, blown away by all the progress, but also a little nervous about those potential risks we talked about.
Yeah, I get that. It's totally natural to feel that way. AI is this incredibly powerful tool, and it really could change the world. It's up to us to make sure it's used in a way that, that's in line with our values, in a way that creates a better future for everyone.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into AI reasoning. We hope you found this journey as fascinating as we have. Maybe we even sparked some ideas or got you thinking about this whole rapidly changing world of AI.
That's what we hope for. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.